Somebody once said you should never meet your heroes because you'll just be disappointed. I don't know who that was, but they obviously never met Tommy. Tommy was many things, but a disappointment? Never. And what a football player. I remember a lot of years ago now staying with him out at Errol. Tommy was with Dundee at the time, and I was appearing at the Whitehall Theatre. And there was a charity match arranged for the Sunday before we opened. And it was always, again, down to Tommy to round up the usual suspects. This time it was a few of the kids from the club, a couple of old pros, and of course Tommy. Me, I was playing for Errol. It was just before we kicked off, and I looked over at him and I thought, wait a minute. It dawned on me. This wasn't just Tommy who you go for a pint with. This was Tommy Gemmell, one of the greatest left backs football's ever seen. Tommy Gemmell, who won the European Cup. Tommy Gemmell, who played in two European Cup finals and scored in both. Tommy Gemmell, a Lisbon Lion. And I was going to play against him. I couldn't wait till he kicked me. You see, up until then, the highlight of my football career was playing against Big Doug Bailey and a team from the Sunday Post. But this was something special. And it's something I'll never forget. As I was saying, I was appearing at the Whitehall Theatre with the Alexander brothers. I've got the poster here. Managed to find it. The old gags are the best. Here we are. The Alexander brothers. 1974 tour by arrangement with Ross Bowie. Neil Owen, Lanky Laughter Maker. Vic and Di, the talented television's twosome. And me, Mark Windsor. Oh, 51 years ago. What? What? Aye, okay. The hair's a wee bit longer and I've got a beard now, but I've not really changed. Anyway, that's also a show I'll never forget. Tom and Jack went on the whole of the first act, and it was me after the interval to open the second act, although that very nearly never happened. Tommy popped his head in that night to leave word for me that he would meet me after the show in Willie Frew's a wee pub round the corner, only to be told that I wasn't there. I hadn't turned up and nobody knew where I was. Straight away, Tommy jumped in his car and he drove back out to Errol. The first I knew about that was blazing headlights coming towards me and a blaring horn from my side of the level crossing barrier where I'd been sitting for the best part of 2 hours. See, Errol was kind of one way in and one way out only. I'd given up all hope of ever getting to the theatre and I was pretty distraught. But Tommy was having none of it. There was no such thing as a lost cause for Tommy, on the pitch or off the pitch. I don't remember the road and the miles to Dundee that night, but what I do remember is 7 minutes after arriving at the stage door, I was on the stage opening the second half of the show. The following day at rehearsals, where nobody was talking to me, Big Jack Alexander was saying, oof, when Ross Bowie finds out, you'll never work again. I went to meet Tommy at Willie Frew's, and of course he was holding court as always. But that wasn't the only thing he was holding. He was holding the Courier newspaper. And I knew exactly what that meant. The review of the show would be in it. Tommy just looked at me and he said, maybe it's better if you sit down. But he was smiling. And I'll never forget what it said. Mark Windsor, the teeny bopper idol of the Whitehall Theatre, danced around the stage to screams of joy from the younger members of the audience, and sang in a voice that could only be described as unusual. Unusual. I can hardly speak, never mind sing. You see, I'd never have been there at all if it hadn't been for Tommy going looking for somebody, a friend who was in trouble, and that was him. Over the years, we had lots of laughs and a few tears, but mostly laughter. But I can never remember us ever being on our own in a pub without somebody coming across and saying, Tommy, going to sign this for us? This is for my wee boy, Top. Or Tommy, would you mind saying a few words to my sister Bunty in Brisbane? You met her last year. Or Tommy, oh, see that ball you get signed? Different class. We get 300 quid. You're some man. And I thought, that's what he does. He makes people happy. They come over to the table and they go away happy. And I remembered something that Harry Lauder said. And I'm telling you, happiness, one of the few things in this world that doubles every time you share it with somebody else. Oh, that'll do. Tommy, a disappointment? Never. Kings may be blessed, but Tam was glorious. O'er all the ills o' life, victorious.